Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
Hey there guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're doing well, and in this video we're going to be talking about a new Ahsoka show rumor. We're going to go ahead and hop right on into it. In this video we're going to be taking a read from the Direct's article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there, as well as I read a villain that was first introduced in Season 2 of The Mandalorian may be returning as an antagonist in the Ahsoka show on Disney+. The Ahsoka show is going to be the next big Star Wars Disney Plus show, coming out in only a couple of months, a little bit later this year after the third season of The Mandalorian wraps up. And I'm a heavy believer that the third season of The Mandalorian, as we've already kind of seen a little bit, will have a lot to do with setting up for the Ahsoka show. First featuring Zeb in live action, I think that there's more to come. Grand Admiral Thrawn was previously believed to be the main villain of the upcoming Ahsoka series. It was already confirmed that both he and Ezra Bridger will be the focus of the show, and that their rescue from the unknown regions will serve as one of the main conflicts throughout the show. However, Morgan Elsbeth, who appeared in The Mandalorian Season 2, was also revealed to have major ties to Thrawn, and it was recently reported at one time that she would be returning in the Ahsoka show to some capacity. That there being said, Morgan Elsbeth may have a much more major role in the Ahsoka show than we had originally thought. According to a new rumor from Making Star AHSOKA.com, Morgan Elsbeth will be appearing in the upcoming Ahsoka show in a major way. The rumor had revealed that Elsbeth, who is played by Diana Lee Insanto in Season 2 of The Mandalorian, will also be present in the entirety of Ahsoka as a villain. Making StarWars.com had also revealed that her role in the upcoming series will be to get Thrawn back to the core worlds from the unknown regions, which is exactly the mission that Ahsoka and Sabine Wren are on as well, only that they want to rescue Ezra Bridger. And so, as we know, by the end of Star Wars Rebels, we know that Thrawn and Ezra are together. They go off into the unknown regions and hyperspace. This rumor from Making Star Wars also suggests the idea that when Elizabeth appeared in The Mandalorian Season 2 on the planet of Corvus, she was using that planet's resources to construct a ship that could travel to the unknown regions, which is something very interesting to see, and to see maybe potentially in the third season of The Mandalorian. Now, something else though, however, that we know about the Ahsoka show is that it was previously rumored that the Ahsoka show would have and contain some type of time jump in the middle of the 8-episode season, but no specifics have been revealed quite yet. My gander at that is that maybe we'll see some type of after the events of the Star Wars Rebels show, and then from there have the time jump that brings us to where we are in the Mandoverse, which would have to be somewhere after the events, of course, after The Mandalorian Season 2, maybe during the events of the Book of Boba Fett, and maybe the third season of The Mandalorian, just depending and telling on when and if we see any more of the Ghost Crew, or even Ahsoka herself appearing in the third season of The Mandalorian. Now, as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, I would love to see like a bottle cap episode of some type that would help better set up for the Ahsoka show. However, having Zeb appear in the show in live action for another thing, I think is already a step in the right direction, and something that we could see in the near future. However, Making StarWars.com also stated that the first half of the Ahsoka show, which will be considered part 1 before the time jump, will more than likely take place around the same time as episode 5 of The Mandalorian's second season. And furthermore, that episode, and the first, couple of episodes before the time jump in the Ahsoka show, would be centered around Ahsoka finding and searching for Morgan Elsbeth on the planet of Corvus before we see her in The Mandalorian Season 2. The rumor from Making StarWars.com also suggests the idea that the second half of the Ahsoka show, after the time jump, could run a parallel to Season 3 of The Mandalorian, taking place right now in the third season of The Mandalorian. This would mean that there would be a bit of a time jump in the middle of the Ahsoka show, but not for a very long one. As I had previously just mentioned and kind of theorized on the idea that before the time jump could take place during the events of the Star Wars Rebels show, or directly after the Star Wars Rebels show. However, of course, now telling and basing off of what we've learned here from MakingStarWars.com, I'm gonna tuck that rumor away. Making Star Wars also stated in their report that Morgan Elsbeth is apparently one of the Night Sisters, a clan of Dathomirian witches that were able to wield powerful magic, as seen in the Star Wars The Clone Wars animated show. The rumor said that the end of Elsbeth's duel with Ahsoka in The Mandalorian, which was never actually shown on screen, could actually take place in the Ahsoka series. I agree and disagree with that to a point. I think that maybe we could see a little bit more of that duel, like what kind of happened to Morgan Elsbeth, like after that duel. Did Ahsoka turn her into the New Republic? Did she kill her? Did she simply let her go? Or maybe take her prisoner? These are all things that we could see, that like I agree with, like what happened at the end of that duel really. All that we know is that Ahsoka of course defeated Elsbeth and asked her the whereabouts and the coordinates of where Thrawn was, but did Elsbeth ever give her a clear-cut, answer to that is something that we could see in the Ahsoka show. Well, maybe the answer to that comes from the report. The report from Making Star Wars also states that Elsbeth could have used her magic to get away from Ahsoka since, well, she is a Night Sister, but that she likely told the former Jedi where Thrawn is before she escaped, maybe out of spite, out of wanting to get away, pleading and reasoning with Ahsoka, or maybe to throw her off their trail and give her fake or wrongful coordinates to Thrawn. This here all being said, how is Ahsoka exactly going to be different from other Mandoverse shows? Now, for one thing, Ahsoka is a Jedi compared to Boba Fett or what we're going to see for Skeleton Crew, which is dealing with a bunch of pirates, essentially, or even with Mando, a gunslinger, Mandalorian. Ahsoka will be the third Disney Plus series released under the Star Wars brand that is officially a part of the Mandoverse, unlike what we see with Obi-Wan Kenobi or the Andor show, or their animated shows like Clone Wars Season 7 or The Bad Batch, or Tales of the Jedi. The other two shows a part of the Mandoverse as we know and love, of course, are The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett, and later to come, maybe closer towards the end of the year or seen in early 2024, would be John Watts' Star Wars Skeleton Crew Disney Plus show. If the rumors are true, and the first half of Ahsoka includes footage from the titular character's duel with Morgan Elsbeth in The Mandalorian, that will be the first time in the Mandoverse that the overarching story as a whole has gone back in time to fill in the gaps of something that was previously already shown before. That would also mean that each of the three Mandoverse titles will follow its own unique formats as well, which is something I'm heavily looking forward to seeing. You may be wondering, well, didn't Book of Boba show a lot of, overarching stories and go back in time a lot with those flashback scenes? And well, yes, I think that the article though, however, is referring to what we see in the Mandoverse for one thing, and have already seen in the Mandoverse. The flashbacks in the Book of Boba Fett have never been seen before. As we know, The Mandalorian has told a linear, clear-cut chronological story, with a few flashbacks mixed in here and there. The Book of Boba Fett spent a large chunk of time actually in the past to the show, that of what happened to the character before, with his time with the Tuskens and crawling out of the Sarlacc pit. When Ahsoka is released, which referred to as Part 1 before the time jump, will focus on important moments that fans have already seen potentially, the Morgan Elsbeth duel and the mural scene in Star Wars Rebels, to provide more insight into what actually happened after those events directly after Star Wars Rebels. It also appears as though Morgan Elsbeth will actually be the main antagonist for quite some time throughout this show, for Season 1 at least of the Ahsoka show. And if Elsbeth is truly a Night Sister, then she is a lot more powerful than previously thought, and her abilities will likely be on full display in the Ahsoka show, so fingers crossed for that, of course. Especially for what we could see in the what's called Part 2, after the time jump in the Ahsoka show, of when the characters make it to the unknown regions to rescue both Thrawn and Ezra. And as we know, Ahsoka is set to hit Disney Plus sometime in late summer, early fall of this year. From there, that is where the article concludes, and as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have this article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. Of course, I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. What do you guys want to see with the Ahsoka show, and what do you make of having Morgan Elsbeth play a much more prominent and major role throughout the Ahsoka show? Of course, I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one, guys. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.